morning, everyone. My pleasure to be here to continue talking about the future of payments. We talked this morning about how crypto, NFTs, and digital currencies are shaping the new economy. We touched based on cyber threats provoked by this type of digital assets. And I'd like to share with you over the next 15 minutes where we are headed in terms of new wave of payments. And probably you guys are not conscious of where we are today, but the change that has occurred in payments over the last 24 months, it's never seen in a decade. Everything has changed from interactions of consumers to how merchants create value propositions across the different channels, or even how we manage the flows. So let me get started with what is shaping the economy. So we've seen how emerging technologies that maybe 5-6 years ago were still something on the go now are consolidating. So connectivity through 5G and IoT. Now we are using wearables to pay anywhere. How cloud and edge computing are enabling new data and analytics models that are able to shape much more customized experiences for customers, AI or blockchain. And we see 4 forces that are driving this forward. The first is that consumers have forever embraced digital, and this is happening across all regions in the world. Second, the rise of fintech thanks to open banking innovation, which is now spread across Europe as a result of PSD2, and the new emerging of new payment rails beyond cards. Third, that marketplaces are starting to become the center of e-commerce and are starting to concentrate a lot of volumes. So this is going to shape the future in terms of how consumers interact. And fourth, and very importantly, we are seeing how regulators have been paying attention to this topic on privacy and fraud. This is becoming more and more a concern. This is shaping how digital payments are going to work in the future. If we take a look a little bit of where we stand on digital payments on cards, the pandemic has totally changed how we operate on a daily basis. In the US, we've seen just in the first half of 2020 a huge emergence of digital payments, which were 10 times what we saw, or what was like 10 times what we saw a decade ago. And in Europe, we're seeing already that 8 out of 10 transactions on POS are done contactless. And in Spain, we are seeing that out of that, already 20% are done through X-Space, which is a massive move. We talk about the concentration of e-commerce. This is becoming more and more relevant. They will represent across 80% of the volumes. And this is becoming more and more the norm across the board. But I'm not here to talk only about card payments. We are seeing a huge trend going forward in terms of real-time payments in other rails because of move from regulators in trying to build new marketplaces. Second, because we've seen how merchants are innovating in order to create the best user experience. We see how platforms like Uber, Glovo, Deliveroo are creating transparent platforms for customers to interact. A tool reinvention of banking. A good example of this is how digital giants like Apple are starting to be part of this game. Recently this week, we have heard how Apple is now entering with Mastercard into a buy now, pay later scheme to create a unique experience with their wallet and their card. Proliferation of data, which is becoming more and more the case, but also the fact that you need to be controlling attacks of cybercrime because as we go digital, this space is less controlled than the physical space, and we really need to make sure we have enough tools to control this. And when we look ahead in terms of real-time payments, the opportunity we have ahead is 4 times what we do see today in cards. So we are talking about $225 trillion opportunity to be tapped, and in this space, we see 3 interesting use cases that have totally different needs. We talked before with Susanna and Bert about the P2P space. This is becoming especially relevant because consumers more and more want to pay and get paid instantly. And I'm talking not just on movements between Bears to another Bears account, I'm talking also on how, for example, I want to receive my insurance claim immediately. I don't want to wait 1 week to get paid. I want to start getting new ways of interaction which no longer work on card rails. Thanks to open banking, I want to top up my account instantly by 1 click, leveraging on payment initiation with my consent without almost doing anything. And we are seeing how entities in the government space are starting to think how they could digitalize the way of disbursing aids. When we look at B2B, so the big flows that corporates are touching, this is one of the biggest areas of opportunity because they face 3 issues. First, the optimization of all the flows, so how they pay their vendors, how they manage their T&E expense. This is becoming to be now more powered with electronic ways. In the old days, it was fully managed by ACH batch models. Data enrichment is becoming more and more relevant, so how you can perfectly match from procurement process from the beginning when you create a purchase order to create an invoice and payment. This is getting now in a single layer with advanced technology that, for example, we are providing with virtual cards. And these tools will enable to get access to capital. This is becoming very, very relevant because sometimes with the traditional treasury lines that banks provide, we are not able to tap this type of needs instantly. And last but not least, P2M. We have the example in Spain of schemes like Bizum, where this is becoming more and more the norm, or in Europe, because customers want convenience and ease and security. Security is an issue in these type of schemes, and we are working on getting what we built on card rails in this type of payments. And in bill payments, there's interestingly a huge opportunity here. Today, I feel that it's fully dominated on batch systems, where typically in Europe, most of consumers are expecting to get bills direct debited from their account, but more and more as we are seeing in many other aspects of digital, customers want to be in control of the whole process, right? They want to understand which invoices are coming in, how they can pay these invoices, and this is also generating a push on the builder side to create digital journeys. And what we're doing in Mastercard is that we have totally shaped from being a card payment company to a multi-rail company. We have invested and acquired a number of assets over the last few years to become one-stop shop because we really want to become the partner of choice and optimize all these flows. I'm talking about account-to-account transactions. I'm talking about blockchain. We talked this morning about what we are doing on the crypto space and on cards, obviously. And of course, the underlying layer that Open Bank is going to provide, where we have also invested. Over the next few minutes, I would like to share what we are doing in this space with some interesting use cases. Let me get started with the first one. So we discussed about P2P. We have created a technology that enables real-time card-to-card transactions that enable things that were already there. So in the US, for example, with Zelle, we are powering the B2B real-time payments. We work with PayPal, Uber. Interestingly, the Uber case has been interesting on how we are enabling taxi drivers in the US to immediately get paid after every ride. But we are starting to see some emerging use cases that are starting to be deployed all over the world. One of them is gambling. This is becoming more and more relevant. When I play online, I want to get paid instantly on my card. And some other movements like cross-border remittances or funding payouts. And we are starting to explore how this technology can solve some of the pain points that insurance companies, B2B players, and others have, because today, many of these payouts are not managed in an optimized way. And thanks to our technology, we can enable that real time. The other interesting case is cross-border payments. So you probably were not aware that this market is $23 trillion globally, where the growth that we are seeing over the last few years, it's incredible. And today, this marketplace is fully managed by banks, so banks have today a 95% share on these flows, but we are seeing how MTOs, fintech like Wise, Best, etc., are starting to disrupt how money is moved. So they are relying on much modern infrastructure, moving out from SWIFT channels to much more modern rails like blockchain and others. And what we expect is that in 3 years' time, banks are going to probably lose half of their share on this space because we are seeing these fast players moving around. And as a result of this, we have acquired a number of assets globally to create a single point of entry for both banks and fintech players, where we can, with a single connection, connect you with more than 100 countries to be interoperable with any currencies across the globe. And what is more important, giving customers choice. This is our core bone of our strategy and our vision, that we are a payment company that wants to provide choice to customers, so customers can receive their money in cash, in card, or wallet, or cards as they decide. This is becoming interestingly more relevant, and we see a huge opportunity for all of us in the ecosystem to play a role here. And last but not least, open banking. We've been seeing a lot of things recently. We have acquired two important assets over the last few years. Finicity in the US, which is becoming very, very relevant as an enabler of not just basic aggregation initiation use cases, but more sophisticated premium API-based models like credit scoring and so on. And in Europe, we are starting to become much more relevant. We're starting to enrich a lot of use cases with Aya, which is a Nordic PIS and IES player that has been in Europe for a number of years with connectivity across most of the European countries, where we are trying to help digital banks to start accelerating and making more efficient some processes like, for example, top-ups. Today, when you have a Revolut account or a Binance account, you need to either put your card or manually initiate a payment. With open banking, you could start to create total new use cases by leveraging on open banking rails and create automatic and instant top-up on your account. So, this is what we see from Mastercard, and we think that more and more there's going to be a multi-rail game. Thanks a lot for your time, and I'm open for any questions you may have. Thank you.